Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to night number 14 of the Fallout Bar, the penultimate Fallout Bar of this PDC World Championships. Cam, we've been on it 14 nights already. This is the penultimate one. We'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll be back with a live lounge on Tuesday. Phil Bars will return to the screen for you all. Hello, Cam. Nice to see you again. Happy New Year to you and everybody in the chat room. The world champion is out.
The world champion is out. Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. I think, as the tweet said, that's probably teased half the people into the show tonight. We've seen the best night of darts of 2022 by a long, long way. And it was, I mean, I'll be honest, we could probably revisit this day on the last day of 2022, and it still might be, especially the evening session. It was brilliant tonight. It's been a great day of darts, and yeah, we're nearly at the end now. I mean, me and you, I feel like, have been on pretty much every show. Everyone's absolutely sick of listening to us by now, but yeah, we're nearly there. We're nearly at the end. I am actually going to the venue tomorrow, which is going to be wonderful. I'm going to get the first taste of this year of actually being in the venue, and yeah, we know the final four now.
We do indeed. Hello to everybody in the chat room. Jeez looks very happy to see me. I've never seen anybody so pleased to see me sat in front of a screen. He also says, evening, Gobby and Cam. Malik, he says, only 2 tonight. Yeah, Lee Boyce has been at Alexandra Palace in the press room with Phil Bard, and he'll be there as a fan tomorrow night as well, Cam. So God knows what you two are going to get.
Oh, yeah, we've already arranged. We will be meeting up, so.
Yeah. Happy New Year, Jack, Cam, and Chat. Happy New Year to you, Curtis, to you, Chris, as well, and to you, Matthew, to Kieran. Incredible night, says Jack.
Have we got the most pointless poll of all time, by the way, on the screen? Because surely there is only one. If anyone votes for anyone other than one man, then we need to be checking whether they're having a bit of a laugh with us.
I think there's a second that might just be in contention.
Well, maybe.
Just, and not the one you think I'm thinking either.
I'm not sure. We never know what you're thinking. You could be thinking the first one, and it's not that one.
No, it's Gary. I thought it was unbelievable today.
Yeah, true. I'll give you that. I mean, it's just been a wonderful, wonderful day of darts.
It has indeed. Teresa says she's just got her breath back. What a night. What a night. What a day, to be honest. Let's not forget there was an afternoon session as well.
We all know Teresa's a massive Michael Smith fan as well, so I'm not surprised. I'm surprised she has caught her breath back by now.
I'm pretty sure. Away Rids fan as well, though. So, bit of 50-50 going on. Gary was great too. Wade's finishing was excellent today. It's just... I'm not even sure where to start, Cam. We've got to review the 4 games. Then we've got to look ahead at tomorrow night's semi-finals, I suppose. Let's just go in order. And if the chat room pops
at the beginning.
I'm not in a rush tonight. I'm not sure about you, Cam. You've got your T-shirt on that says you're prepared to talk about darts, whether people like it or not. So
I finally had Christmas today after my COVID event. So I had Christmas with the family this afternoon as well. And this was a present from my father. It says, I will talk about darts, whether you like it or not. So, and we know that whenever me and you are on here, it always goes long, doesn't it?
Lucky me indeed. G says it's only 11:40, lads, correct. And the fact this will be available back as a podcast tomorrow when there is just an evening session. That is right, isn't it?
Yep.
Both semis are on evening.
I might even listen back to us on the way down there.
I'm just double checking. It's been a long tournament. You never know what's going on at all. It's just all over the place. Right, let's talk match action from today. And as ever, we're going to go in game order. And Jack hits the nail on the head. King was disappointing. James Wade is into the World Championship semi-finals, having not averaged 90 in the entire tournament and having hit 4 180s in the entire tournament, all of which were today in a bet that simply couldn't lose and did lose, by the way. King's hit the most 180s, was an absolute nail on, and they both hit 4. But James Wade, Cam, is into his 4th PDC World Championship semi-final.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about this is the fact that James Wade is into a semi-final. Yes, okay, he got a bye, which helps massively, but he's into a semi-final without even being slightly challenged at all yet. And the biggest thing with that is we don't know where he can go to yet. Like, he might. I know he's not played well so far. He's not averaged even close to 90 yet, I don't think. Never mind over 90. But that's all he's had to do to win these games. So there may be more in the tank. I mean, I don't know what is the biggest shock today, whether it's him winning so comfortably or the fact that he did actually hit a 180 finally in this tournament on the last 3 days of the tournament before he's actually hit one. But yeah, the bet was obviously, as you said earlier, was James Wade to win and Mervyn King to hit the most 180s, and it finished 4 apiece.
You'll never meet a poor bookie, will you?
No.
Indeed.
They are a little bit poorer tonight, though.
All right, big time. Can't all take $1,000 out of a betting company. Fun enough. I'm not going to say that. Let's just talk about the game. Both chucked in an 86 average, both 4 180s. Wadey 44.1% on the doubles, 15 out of 34. Mervyn King 8 out of 24. So he got less attempts, hit less. In a draw that just opened up for two players that, in terms of titles, King's underachieved in his career in terms of titles, full stop. Wadey is underachieved in this event. He's a 10-time major winner over 3 decades. You can't argue with that. But do you think perhaps maybe the fact that the draw had opened up so much for them, they're playing in the quarterfinal, is very winnable from both sides, especially after the form they've carried throughout this tournament? King had chances in the first set, didn't take them. Had chances in the fourth and the fifth leg, if I'm right, to win the set, didn't take them. Wadey does what Wadey does. And King just never looked like he was getting back in the match at all.
No, he didn't. I think the biggest thing with this is, like you say, it's opened up more for both of them than probably ever in terms of what they've needed to do to get this to this point and the opportunity that they've got at this stage to go on and do something. And I think that affected King more than it did Wade. We've seen Wade not yesterday, the day before, when his interview after the game, that he's convinced that he is going to win this tournament at some point. I don't think Mervyn King believes the same, and I think the hype of this is his best chance to get to a semi-final and it's opened up for him affected him more than it did Wade today, because Wade was just clinical still. He still did what James Wade does and went and won this game, and I think that hype and the big thing around the fact of what an opportunity for both of them, who, like we say, they have both underachieved in this tournament, certainly. And as we know with Merv, he's still waiting for that first big one as it is. So I think that affected him a little bit more today. And I think that's why we saw such a comfortable win for James Wade.
Do you think talk of the P word potentially got to Mervyn King as well? I know he's not on the forefront of everybody, but if you go deep at the World Championships, after you've made the Masters final, you've produced your highest ever TV average this year. He's just looked so much different on TV this year. Do you think potentially that, as well as World Championships, added to King's performance as well, or has he just been right?
I'm not sure so much on that one. I mean, do we think he cares that much about the Premier League over actually winning an event? I think at this stage, I don't think Mers wants to be thinking about that at this stage. I think he was just thinking about, this is my opportunity to go and win not only a big one, but win the biggest one of them all, that is the one that matters over everything else at the end of the day.
It is indeed. I just wish that the rest of the field understood that, because I'm not entirely sure some of the players do when you're talking about Premier League way before this competition finishes.
Are we just nibbling back to Luke Humphreys again for a second from a couple of days ago?
No, definitely not. James Wade, then, look, he's into a semi-final again. It would be absolute heartbreak if he were to lose it again. He's been there 3 times. He's lost it 3 times. It is quite ironic, I think, that given the interaction that James Wade has had with certain people in the media, Phil, Wayne Mardle, that should he lose it, he would be very, very close to Wayne Mardle's record. It's not something I want to think about as a big fan of James Wade, but there is that undertow. We saw James having a pop at Wayne in his Sky interview. Then he backed it up in his online media interview. Wayne made a couple of comments after the match tonight saying if James plays at that level, Michael Smith will knock him out the park, basically. There's just that little bit of undertow in this one at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a little bit. I've lost my train of thought with this one now. It's gone out my head. Start again. What were you saying?
I can't remember. Right, let's do a quick... Apparently, Lee Boyce for the Premier League, not a chance. I've seen him throw 6 darts, and I never want to see him throw again. He's even worse.
I've never seen him throw any, to be honest. I know he can play pool, and Jose de Sousa knows he can play pool.
Beating Jose doesn't matter, especially if you're playing 9-ball. The man can't count.
That's true.
That says Wade has to be in the Premier League, and this is what I want to talk about, Cam, because should James Wade reach the final of this event, not only will he's in the top 4, he virtually cannot be caught right now, but maybe he can,
What's that?
He loses to Michael Smith and Gary Anderson. A Gary Anderson final and Michael Smith title. James Wade drops out of the top 4.
He does. But
yeah,
I was looking at the permutations earlier in the fact that Callum Ridds, if he had gone to the final and Wade had dropped out, if Callum Ridds had won the event at that point, he could have knocked Wade out of the top 4 as well. So that's the thing with this tournament. How much money it carries is the fact that it can make a big difference. And like you say, Gary goes on and wins it. All of a sudden, Wade's out the top 4. And yes, he won a TV title in the UK Open last year, but he has already had a run in the Premier League off the back of that, in the fact that Gezi dropped out and he took his place. Does that mean that he would get another run off that tournament, or is that rule going to change in the fact that he's already had it?
Don't know. I think Wade gets I very much agree with this comment. Wade doesn't get much respect. And look, the fact he's in the World semi-finals as well, I still think he should be in if he's not in the top 4. The fact that conversation even goes on when
I think final. I think we see final, and regardless of whether he's had a run already and whether they change the top 4 rule, he deserves to be in there and get another shot at it.
Yeah.
His problem is he didn't do particularly well last year when he got a shot at it, and that could work against
But
him.
I think preparation is a massive part of that. And when you rock up to the hotel thinking you're getting a one-night stay away from your family and you'll be back tomorrow, you're not really in the mindset to go and play 17 nights of Premier League darts.
For week 1, yes. But then after that, we didn't really see any improvement when he knew he was still going to be there. And even, I think week 1's been a little bit generous.
Michael Van Gogh every time he played him.
Yeah, I mean, I even think week 1's been generous in terms of giving him that off, because after the first day, you're there for the rest of the week, so your preparation should be a lot better at that point.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. Let's hear then from James Wade. As ever, you guys know the drill by now. Short clips of each interview. Full interview is available on the YouTube channel. Go and watch that after you finish watching or listening to this show. Please don't forget to like the video that we're watching now. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content. We are fast approaching 20,000 subscribers, as I said. And hit that notification icon so you don't miss anything when we go live. This is James Wade.
People like yourself, yeah, I love it. And Wayne Mardle. I love proving him wrong. All of reporters and news and people that are important in the game of darts will always... most of them will write me off. Again, like, as I said, and I don't mean it in a personal or derogatory way to Wayne Mardle, he always tips me off, to not do this and not do that. I've won more than Wayne did in probably 2 weeks than he did in his entire career. But he's hell-bent on being a little bit silly. But as we say...
I love it. The first comment, by the way, you could see the grin on his face. He knows what he's doing. He's having a little bit of fun. The second one, a little bit more from Wadey. And I do agree, Wadey cops it a little bit. But actually, if I'm not mistaken, Wayne's tipped James to win this event twice in the last 3 years. He doesn't write him off massively. Other events,
no, he doesn't.
He's tipped him to win this event.
He's one of his backers, generally, to be honest. It's probably not the right man that he's having a nibble back at. But
Having a pop at Phil, by the way, no objection with that. As somebody that sits opposite Phil Bars every single week, telling him how good James Wade is and getting nothing back. Carry on, mate. I'll join you, James. We'll go for a pint. Apparently, though, we're not important in the world of darts because we like James, so that's just the rules.
Yeah, having a pop at Phil, having a pop at me would be absolutely fair as well. I've been critical of the man plenty, but Wade Mardle's probably the one that's giving more support than anyone over the last few years.
Yes. Right, on to game number 2, then. Let's get that one out of the way. And the first of 3 absolutely amazing encounters. The afternoon session was wrapped up with a resurgent, old-school performance from the Flying Scotsman himself, Gary Anderson, defeating Luke Humphreys 5-2. Cameron, after the way that Humphreys started this match, there would have been a little bit of concern in the Gary Anderson camp, I think, given his form over the last year, his form in this tournament so far to date, to be honest. The win against Rob Cross was superb, though, and Gary Anderson just went to another level against Luke Humphreys today. He looked so sharp, so different. It was Gary Anderson that made the final last year. It was Gary Anderson that's been in 8 or 9 quarterfinals, semi-finals, whatever that astonishing record is that Gary Anderson has now. And he beat Luke Humphreys 5-2.
Yeah, very, very impressive this. It looked on the cusp, especially when they levelled at 2 sets all of going deep this one, and Gary just did the right things at the right time again. The 110 to win the set when it was 2 each in the set, I think, as well. Was that for 3-2 or 4-2? I can't remember, but it was very close to going that set going the other way for him if he didn't take that 110. And it was a clinic of ton plus finishes, big checkouts, and he got outscored by Humphreys for the majority in terms of the 180s, but the 140s from Gary were just consistent, where he just kept himself in every single leg, basically, just gave him the best opportunity to win. And like I say, this is a man that is absolutely adamant that he does not pick up a dart when he's at home. He's not bothered about practicing whatsoever.
Genuinely believe him.
100% believe him as well. And he just makes you think, how many could he have won?
If he cared. It's like Ronnie O'Sullivan, isn't it? Yeah. How many could he have won if he'd been dedicated for that patch of his life? Obviously, Gary has been dedicated in the past, and he just looks silky smooth when he's on it. A big point to make that since he's swapped back to the straight darts, the codes, the noirs, whatever style of straight barrel Gary Anderson has decided to throw, how much better, how much smoother does the action look? The starting position is unbelievable, by the way. I've always, look, everyone's always loved Gary Anderson's throw because when he's on it, he is Rolls Royce. But I think that's very much from the roll up of the dart and how easy he makes it look. The starting position, when he gets his elbow up from the side on view, is the best I've seen in the game. It is solid, exactly where your elbow needs to be. It doesn't drop. It is just unbelievable to look at. By contrast, by the way, we completely forgot this bit, but James Wade action today looked very, very ropey. He was up on his front foot, on the ball of his left foot, like he was a couple of years ago when he started to drop down the rankings, and that is a big concern for James Wade. But on the contrast, Gary Anderson just looked $1 million today.
Yeah, I thought Wade looked the same a couple of days ago as well in his last match. Very bouncy, but he was still kind of hitting the right shots at the right times, and it still kind of worked for him. Yeah, Gary's action is so smooth, and that flick of the dart and the starting position of it is just something that I think it's what we all would love to replicate and be able to do. My throw is very different to that. Mine's a lot more like Joe Cullen, comes from the side of my head, and it's not the same. Whereas, like, I've tried so hard to try and replicate that sort of a throw and keep it like that, and I just can't do it. But Gary just has it, and it's just immaculate in the fact that it's, like you say, the elbow doesn't fall off. It's the same release pretty much every time. It makes you wonder how he doesn't play like this every single time.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. A word on Luke Humphreys, beaten in his 3rd quarterfinal in 4 years, I think it is, at the World Championships. A superb record there. Another snooker comparison. It's a bit like Barry Hawkins, who seems to absolutely love the Crucible. Luke Humphreys comes alive at Alexandra Palace. He's creeping up in the world rankings, comfortably inside the top 20 now. Obviously, the former World Youth Champion, made the UK Open. We haven't really heard a lot of him throughout the rest of the year. I guess a little bit disappointing after the way he started the match against Gary. There were chances there. Gary only 33% on his doubles, so he's still faffing around a fair bit. But next year, I think, is the one for Luke Humphreys to target, because he's got that platform now. He's got that solid. He's got that solid base. He's got that experience on TV. Needs to up his floor game a little bit now, I think, to match it. A bit like Dimitri van den Berg a couple of years ago when he first burst through the bubble. His TV stage game, fantastic. His floor game, not quite there. If he adds that to his weapon, he could be top 10 player in no time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we all know, don't we, that Luke Humphreys we've seen it already from him in getting to the UK Open final, where he was absolutely brilliant throughout the tournament, and what we've seen from him on this stage now in making 3 quarterfinals already, in the fact that he's still a young guy as well, and he's still got a lot of improving and his ceiling's so high because we've seen him throwing ridiculous averages on the big stage. I think it is time for him to step it up and go a little bit further. But I think he didn't do a lot wrong today, really. He's averaged mid to high 90s. He's 42% on his doubles as well. He just got beat by a better player today in Gary, who was bang on it. And yes, he missed a few opportunities, but the way he scored throughout the game gave him the opportunity to miss those chances and still get over the line pretty comfortably. So I don't think Luke's done a lot wrong today. And as much as we mentioned earlier about his little comment about the Premier League, I do think that was just tongue-in-cheek. I don't think he was seriously saying that I should be in there. He just wants to know that he feels ready for it, and if there's an opportunity there, that he wants it, but which is fair enough for me.
Yeah, completely agree. Right then, let's hear from the Flying Scotsman, Gary Anderson, see what he had to say after his victory. If he says the line, then we all just cheer. In fact, if he says the line, we need to get this stream to 50 likes. If Gary Anderson says the words, I just want to play darts,
we still need the shirts. We need the shirts. We need the merchandise. Let's do it.
Next year, I promise, we will have merchandise from Online Darts. They've been sat waiting to go for a long, long time. And with that, we will do a run of T-shirts from Gary Anderson that just says, I just want to play darts. But this is Gary in his post-match press conference.
You're into the final 4. What's
and I'm
changed?
still rotten. I've not changed. I think the other players have got worse. No, it's I don't know. You know, like I say, I've said I don't care and blah blah, and I really do mean it. But once my foot goes in that top step, you know, I'm on that stage. I still want to play darts. You still want to win, you know. So
we saw some celebrations, and you had a bit of a tussle with the crowd. Did you enjoy that one?
I love it, absolutely love it. You know, Bob said skin like a rhino, and the more they sing and chant for me against me, the more I'm going to enjoy it. You know, Rachel was sitting the other night with Rab. You know, and once he started singing it, Rab turned me and went, oh no, did he start this now? You know, it stirs him on a bit, so it's good.
Yeah, look, I 100% believe the man that he doesn't practice. I 100% do not believe the man when he says he doesn't care, and he's just there. When he's up on stage, it means something to him. He was fist pumping walking down the stairs at a break one point. It's slightly down to the side so nobody could see it, but it was you caught it. But when he was walking down the steps behind Luke after a set, Gary Anderson absolutely wants to be world champion again. Don't tell me he doesn't. Even if it's just for the payday and he can run off, because that's the sort of thing Gary Anderson could well do.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, at this stage, he's in a world championship semi-final. There is no way at this stage you can not care about it. Like, we thought maybe a couple of games ago when he played Ian White that he didn't particularly want to be there, and he was close to losing that game because he looked like he didn't want to be there. Then against Rob Cross, he thought, I've got a chance here now. And now, after this again today, he has got a huge chance of winning it, and he wants it.
Well, not only did he look like he don't want to be there, he pretty much told a few people he didn't want to be there. The man was ready to leave with all the COVID cases going on.
There may have been some bags packed and on his way.
Maliki says a Scotsman in London will always get booed. Interestingly, though, good luck booing both of them in the semi-final, because it is North Scotland second semi-final, because in match number 3 today, Peter Wright beat Callan Rhodes in a last set. classic finale, however you want to say it, contender for game of the tournament, which is being chucked out an awful lot, Cam, but this one was an absolute belter again. Callum Ridds, the youngster, out the blocks the quickest, exactly the same as Luke Humphreys earlier, maintained it throughout the match, though. Superb. Put Peter Wright under an awful lot of pressure. I may have been the curse of the commentator jinx at one point, saying that Peter Wright has the best composure in world darts, as he went on to lose set number 7, fluffing match darts all over the place. But he responded brilliantly, and he just, even though he missed those darts, and I made that comment, he never panicked once. Or you could never tell he was panicking. Internally, he may well have been, but his emotions did not change. He still strutted around the stage as he does, with his shoulders out a little bit. It was just the perfect performance, not the perfect performance, but it's the perfect way to carry yourself on stage for a man that's been through so much heartbreak as Peter Wright does. He's not afraid of any outcome anymore.
No, he's not. And I don't think he panics internally either. I don't think there's any act to what he does on the stage. I think he takes the same amount of time over every single walk to the hockey, every single dart that he throws. Nothing phases him at this stage. And I think you were absolutely spot on with what you said about his composure, despite what happened just afterwards. And don't worry about that. We've all done that. We've all jinxed people on Twitter just before they're about to do something. I did it in the last Ashes test where Giles said something about Rory Burns' action, his batting style, and I said, he's still there though, and he got out the next ball. It happens. It just is what it is. But yeah, we've all done that. And we've all said things that then look stupid within 30 seconds, but he kept it together right to the very end and basically proved you right at the end of it, because he came through that game under an absolute barrage from Callum Ridds, who possibly outside of the man in the next game been the form player of this tournament. Yeah. And when Ridds put him under it, like you say, nothing changed from Wright. He didn't start him quicker. He didn't go and change his darts. He didn't do anything. He was still playing well. And he was getting beat by the better man earlier on. But he held it together and held it together over the longer distance. And it was really, really impressive.
It was really impressive indeed. Into the actual game, it just, I'm not even sure how to describe it. It was just, like I said, Peter Wright just never panicked. He looked calm, he looked composed. Even at 2-0 down, he looked like he was just going to regroup, keep going. The 140s again from Peter Wright. The man at 27 140s, 37 turns, 17 180s. I think it's massively understated just how big a 180 hitter Peter Wright can be, because he is superb. He must be one of the most consistent players in and around that treble 20. And it just affords him so many opportunities on the outer ring. He had 60 darts at a double today. 60 to Callum Ridds' 43, which, okay, shows a little bit of messing around and perhaps kept Callum in the game a little bit longer than he could have. But the fact that Wright still closed that out, he can win scrappy games. He can win games where they're both chucking 97 plus averages at each other for 9 sets. He's just got everything in the tank, I think, that sets him up for potentially lifting that trophy again.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen what he can do, and the consistency, like you say, of, well, when he uses the right darts, obviously, but when he uses those gold ones, I genuinely think they're his best set of darts. I know they're not the ones he won it with last time, but they are his best set of darts, because when that first one goes anywhere near the top half of the treble 20, whether it's middle or either side of it, you fancy that he's following it with 2 more, and he can put 2 more in there where he could fit another 16 in there. They're that closely bunched together. And I just don't understand why he ever uses any other set of darts or tells us he can't use them. But he's so consistent on that treble 20. And I mean, Ridds fired an 11 today and got comfortably beaten on the 180s. That's how many he hit today. And it was just really good and really impressive. And like you say, we see it over these longer formats. His consistency and his mental toughness and just the way that he holds it together when it matters, when he's doing it in these 9-set matches and still averaging almost a ton and just consistent, a ton. And he doesn't really fluctuate. Again, he's another one of these players who he doesn't do 120 average, 80 average. He's solid at the same level all the time. And we saw it when he did it. He does it in set play, he does it in leg play. We saw it when he did it to Fallon in that game over 30 odd legs where she averaged 100 throughout it, and he still just was consistently above. And it's just got that level where he can't, nothing throws him off and nothing phases him anymore.
Yeah, correct. And I think the ultimate difference in that match today, because they both played superbly, despite the small differences in the stats we've just said, is the experience of Peter Wright. The man's 51. He's a world champion. He's won other TV titles, but he was in so many losses before, and that has molded him into an even better dart player now. I'm absolutely convinced that if he'd gone and beaten Mark Van Gogh in the first couple of times, get a little bit composed of it, etc. Callum Ridds has a massive, massive future ahead of him. 23-year-old, 2 Pro Tours earlier in the year, picking up titles, going deep in TV runs. Now, let's not forget the last time he played Peter Wright in Gibraltar on a Euro Tour, pumped him 6-3 of 109 average. The kid can play.
110 and 6 out of 6 on his doubles and 163. Yeah, with
and
Wright.
He started similar fashion today in the set.
With,
he was 100%
with Wright averaging 108. Like Callum, this I genuinely think, as much as he will be devastated, and you could see it at the end, he did not know what to do or where to look or what he was meant to do at the end of that game today. And I think this is miles better for him than winning this game.
Yeah,
I honestly think, like you say, it's that learning experience, especially how young he is now. Like Peter Wright's gone through all this at a much older age and like Callum's got 30 years ahead of him still if he wants to. Like this could be huge for him in the fact that he was in a right battle and he gave it his all. He didn't crumble. He didn't fall away. His head did not fall off. He didn't have any sort of nightmare up there. He played very, very well from start to finish in this game and just got beat by the best man on the day. And I think that's massive for him. And I mean, watch out because he is some player. I mean, that start where he pinged in the 152 in the first leg, it's like, oh, is he going to be nervy on his first World Championship quarter final? And he's banged in a 152 in the first leg.
Yeah, the 106s, the 105s. He was
he's the best 106 hitter in world darts.
Twice in the space of about 6 legs in exactly the same route. Shout out to the rest of the Northeast boys as well, by the way, because I think they really are pushing each other on. Ryan Joyce, Chris Dobie, Callum Ridds, they all play regularly against each other. They're all giving each other a little bit of jip about how they can go. Marcus says, imagine playing Ridds on the development tour. Yeah, I was there when he was on the development tour, mate. Absolutely brutal. Perhaps didn't have the success on it that his talent level right now shows, though, but he was competing with the likes of Dimitri Vandenberg, Luke Humphreys, Mike De Decker, and Ted Evitts, 4 of the most successful development tour players of all time. So he was in a really, really tough era, but he has come out from it ridiculously. That year he spent on the Challenge Tour, by the way, seems to have molded him even more than that development tour ever could have. Let's hear from Peter Wright in his post-match press conference. Then we'll look at the final game of the evening, and then we'll look ahead to tomorrow's semi-finals.
I was gutted that we didn't play in the World Cup to go and get it back again. But me and Big John, we went and done the business for Scotland. So, but we're World Cup partners and that, me and Gaz, and but tomorrow it'll be enemies on stage, so looking forward to it.
And of course you achieved your dream here a couple of years ago, lifting the world title, but just how special would it be to become a 2-time world champion?
Well, I already believe I'm going to be a double world champion. Whether it's this year or not, I don't know, but we'll see. Tune in.
The second man saying he's going to win the world title now on camera. I think that's one of them was Mervyn King, and James Wade says he will win it at some point, although he might not get a better chance given the tournament right now. You'd be mad to bet against Peter Wright, but we will get on to betting on somebody very, very shortly because I have the Final Four outright odds from our friends at BoyleSports who sponsor the show, and they make for pretty interesting reading right now, Cam. I have a feeling the semi-finals are playing a massive part in those odds right now, but there is a surprise favourite for the tournament right now, I think, personally, and that man is Michael Smith, after he tonight dethroned the reigning champion, Gerwyn Price, the world number 1 and reigning world champion, is out of the PDC World Championships in another 5-4 set result. Cam, this was a absolutely fantastic game. And there's plenty of people been saying it right now and talking about how different and how mature and how grown up Michael Smith has been throughout this tournament. And he showed all of that once again tonight in what turned out to be pretty difficult circumstances towards the end.
Yeah, I think we say sort of surprise favourite, but we've just seen him be the form player in world darts and then the world number 1 in back-to-back close games that went all the way. Michael Smith is now winning the games that he has always played well in and lost. I think it's looking like when it's your time for Michael Smith. And he was incredible tonight. So was Gezi. I thought the one thing with Gezi tonight, I thought was his first dart was poor a lot of the time. He hit a lot of 140s and a lot of tons. But his first dart was either an inch above the treble or it was half a centimetre low of the treble. He didn't hit that first treble very often whatsoever. And then but he stayed in legs and stayed in sets because he then hit the next 2 and adjusted really well. But Michael Smith was just incredible in the fact he just absolutely just annihilated that treble 20. When that first one went in, he just followed it every time. That's the thing there. That rhythm, it's so smooth, it's so watchable. As you can see on the screen right there now, it was so good to watch. And then he was bang under pressure. He was 4-3 down. He was in trouble, and we've seen him not get over the line from that position and fall apart from that position and lose 5-3 in the past. We would have seen. He won that 4th set, and then the set for 4-all, sorry, not the 4th set, the 8th set, and then went and did the business in the final set, and I just absolutely love to see it. And I really think I think BoyleSports are absolutely spot on with the odds. I think Michael Smith goes and wins this title.
Big claim. We'll get to that bit very, very shortly. Let's talk about the match action. I really do want to talk about that 8th set because that's where I think the match turned massively. But we need to go back a little bit. I'm not entirely. I should have written down what set number it was. But Gerwyn Price hit the 3rd 9-darter of this year's PDC World Championships in a set that he lost 3-1. The legs in that set were 13, 9, 11, and 12. Michael Smith responding amazingly to Gerwyn Price hitting a 9-darter that was the holder throw in the second leg. The first player to ever go treble 19, treble 20, double 12 for the 141. Everybody else that's ever hit one in a PDC World Championship has gone for the treble 20 first when attempting 141. A superb achievement from Gerwyn Price, the 3rd 9-darter in this tournament, but the 3rd player to exit the tournament having hit one. A reminder, there is a £50,000 prize to any player in the World Championship field that hits 2 9-darters in the same tournament. We saw Willie Borland hit one to win the match against Bradley Brooks earlier in the tournament. We saw Darius Labanauskas hit one to win the second set in his match that he went on to lose. And we've seen Gerwyn Price hit one earlier this evening that I think pretty much came out of nowhere. Don't get me wrong, it was a fantastic game, but I just saw 9. Oh my God, bang.
I'm not so sure it came out of nowhere. I mean, I kind of think
it was a superb game. I just didn't see the 9 coming. No one had gone 6 or 7 before. You normally get a couple of attempts.
Did Smith not go 6 earlier? I don't know. I feel like he did. I feel like he went 6 earlier on. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone correct me in the chat if I am wrong or back me up if I'm right. And we'd seen Peter Wright go 8 in the game, which we didn't talk about either. Peter Wright went 8 in the game before.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah.
We forget. This is how good tonight's been that we've forgotten all these massive things that have happened. Yeah, the 9. I'm going to throw it out there that I was very, very impressed with Gezi's 9 because 19's first is the right way to go on the 141. Because you hit that one, you're not going down, you're not going up, down, up again. You're going down, up, and then across.
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of weight. I know it's slightly higher, the 12, but it's still a similar throw. It's a bit like going 19s to leave double 16. It's the same sort of thing. So I actually think that's the right way to go. And as soon as the 19 went, it was going, and it was never going anywhere else after that. And I do think it's a tougher switch going up, down, up. It's just, of course it is, because you're just going all over the place with your weight of the dart. Yeah, I thought that was the right way to go, and it was just unbelievable. But what a set from Michael Smith, and it was the fourth set, by the way. It was to get back to 2 each, and it was just, I mean, I know Gezzy's set in the final last year was the record for the average in a set. I mean, I think this one was better in the fact that he got a 9 against him and still won it 3-1 and leveled up the match. It was really special from Michael Smith, that set as well.
Yeah, absolutely superb. And I think that was the first sign that perhaps today was going to be a bit different. His opponent's just chucked a 9 dart around. He responds by going 11-12. Superb performance from Michael Smith in that. On to the 8th set as another talking point from this match. Gerwin Price leading 4-3. And this is when the crowd reared their ugly head once again. I genuinely thought they'd been pretty good for today. Gary Anderson gave them a little bit earlier on, but it was all in good taste. I don't think there was anything major in the Wade King game. The crowd tried to G Mervyn King up. It was absolutely perfect. Wasn't anything in the Wright Rids game as far as I'm aware. They just got on with it and enjoyed the action. And then some. The issue is that, don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of talk about the crowd this year. An awful lot of talk about the crowd this year because of the change in tone of some of the songs that have been sang. And I've tried to defend them where possible because I think a little bit of a hangover from the European Championships and being able to drink. The only other sport in this country that is transferable for fans to create and sing songs is football. Naturally, our biggest sport, our national sport, that is where the majority is going to come over from. That's why you get Yaya, Colo, whether they've been retired for 10 years and people don't like it. It's a bit of fun when you've had a drink, by the way, going down and up and getting yourselves up. Like, that's genuinely why it is. But in this moment, it was an individual that has spoiled the game, that kept shouting at Gezzy when he's on the throw. And that has always been the bugbear, the issue within darts. A wall of noise, booing a player,
it's fine.
It's booing a player. Yes, you know it's a boo, but it's the same as cheering a player. It's constant. It's never ever going to put you off. Yeah, it is a wall of noise. You can get used to that. But anybody shouting on a player's throw that is above the level of anybody else, the same as whistling and shrieking, etc.
Well, I think we saw whistling as well tonight, didn't we? And it's just so poor. Like, it's just like it was really poor, and I was very, very impressed with Gezzy actually at the point where he went and complained to George Noble and pointed out where it was coming from and who it was. And not only that, he composed himself and went back and hit the treble with his last dart after doing all that. I was very, very impressed with that, because it would have been very easy to throw a wild dart into the 1 or the 5 after that, or not even stop yourself mid-throw, throw a terrible dart, and then complain about it. But he did it completely the right way. And yeah, there's just no room for it. I mean, it's 20 past 12, I'm going to say it. The people that do that are a complete and utter bell end, and they shouldn't be in the arena. And it's just no need for it whatsoever. Like you say, booing people, fine. Gezzy brings a little bit of that on himself, and it kind of serves. But it's a constant wall of noise. It does not put a player off unless they're already put off because their head's going a little bit because they've missed a couple of doubles. That's not on the crowd. That's on them. That shouting out and whistling when people are throwing is ridiculous, and there's no place for it whatsoever. And the one thing I will say though is Gezzy did moan about it after he missed his last double. I didn't hear anything whatsoever. I had the TV fairly loud. I feel like we heard pretty much everything from the crowd that game. I think that one was just a little bit, he knew he'd kind of thrown it at that point.
Although,
but fair enough. He's had it that much throughout the game. Fair enough.
the fact that Michael Smith heard it as well and he said it was putting him off, it
Yeah.
clearly was a thing. I think the issue is, and it has been since the Gary Anderson incident, is for a long, long time, Gerwyn Price has enjoyed playing the pantomime villain. He's always had a love-hate relationship. I saw a couple of tweets earlier about now that he's world number one, the expectation levels have gone up, and there's a lot of comments about you need to respect the world number one and world champion because of that position. I don't think you do. You respect people because of their characters and their personalities. And that's I'm not sure he's ever embraced that. Look, us in the media, Gerwyn Price is absolutely fantastic. But if you're the reigning world champion, world number one, no matter how aggrieved you are, you don't go posting that on your Instagram at the end of the match.
No. Because, well...
And don't get me wrong, look, it clearly,
who's
clearly feels like it's got to him and has affected his performance in that moment.
Yeah, but
I actually want to say kudos to Michael Smith in this moment as well, because for a man who's had his bottle questioned so frequently throughout his career, never got over the big moments. We said about how much he's matured. He went on to win that set in a must-win set.
Yeah.
That was massive. It was no win for Michael Smith at that point. If he gets involved in it, he gets engaged in it, Gerwyn Price either has an excuse now or is buoyed by it and goes on and wins the set and the match and then can give it back. It was an absolutely no-win situation for Michael Smith there. And he kept his head down, he stayed out of it, and he went on to win the darts match. And that was the most impressive thing about all of it for me. And the issue is that now overshadows one of the best performances of Michael Smith's career.
Yeah, not only that, one of the best matches we've ever seen on that stage. Like, it was brilliant back and forth. And like you say, from Michael Smith, quite possibly the best performance we've ever seen from him. And if he goes on and wins this tournament, this is going to be the big point in which that's turned for him. Again, from Gezi, yes, he's upset. Yes, it's not helped. And yes, it's poor from the crowd at times. But first of all, who's he calling cheats? Because it's nothing to do with Michael Smith. And generally, if you call cheat out, that's against who you're playing against, or that's against the team you're up against, which is nothing to do with Michael Smith whatsoever. He's not in the crowd. He didn't do anything to incite the crowd or get them going at any point. He just played his game, and we didn't even see a lot of celebration from him until the end, because he was just playing that new, mature Michael Smith that we've seen, where he's just in the zone and he's not getting too into anything until he's gone and won that game. Yeah. So I don't think cheats is the right word. I get he's upset. It's fine. But again, this is where we say, as much as we love it, as the media, and the fact that he gives us so many talking points and things that drive traffic and interest, but he needs someone to take control of his Instagram, because he gets himself in trouble with it. And whether that's in trouble with stupid things that he says, or whether that's in trouble with getting the fans on his back, somebody needs to control that for him. And he has won enough and wins enough and will continue to win enough to be able to afford to pay someone to do that for him. And he should be doing it.
Yeah, I think we're at that level now. And I think this is never going to change until Price makes the first move. You can't keep going in, loving it 1 minute, hating it the next minute. And it's unfortunate, but the situation has been brewing for a long, long time. And it was only a matter of time before it boiled over a little bit. And we've seen the songs, the chants towards Scotland and Wales throughout this tournament. They've not been brilliant, but then you've seen Welsh people defending it and thinking it's funny and a joke. And we had a very similar situation with the nickname that Tottenham Hotspur used to have for themselves and fans, and that's suddenly becoming an issue in the last couple of years. And still Spurs fans refer to themselves in that with that phrase. Yeah. And as long as the Welsh are going to do it as well, or give it back at the same time, I'm not sure that one's ever going to disappear. And it's just all a bit of a mess, really. And again, the issue is always going to be that for a long, long time, a lot of people high up have said, if you pay your money, you turn up in the crowd, you can sing and do what you want.
Yeah,
and it's got to a level where it's just a little bit too disrespectful to the players now. And some of the players are feeling it. I've seen a lot. Where's the comment gone now? What if I came round to their workplace while trying to earn money to put food on their table for family? Mervyn King. The issue is not everybody works in the entertainment business. Sport is entertainment. People pay to be there. If I pay you to come and fix my skirting board or something, I'm not paying for the entertainment. I'm paying for the service. If I'm a crowd member, I'm there to play darts, support, have a few beers. Ali Pali has been marketed as the best Christmas party in the country
Yeah.
for the last 20 years. You're always going to get this build-up at some point, and it's just unfortunate that after such a good performance from Michael Smith, which, by the way, that 8th set as well went to a deciding leg. The 3 previous times in the match, it had gone to a deciding leg. Gerwyn Price won the set. That's how big a turnaround Michael Smith managed. He won a set in a deciding leg for the first time in a match that ultimately went on to winning the match. Jamie says, any ideas what the fans said? Michael Smith seems to think that the player was just shouting Michael's name. I'm not sure about anything else.
I thought I heard whistling.
Find out.
Yeah, I thought I heard whistling. I thought that's what I heard as he was throwing. And I thought that was the one where he stopped and called it out and had a word with George Noble. I thought that was a whistle from what I thought I heard from the broadcast. But again, it may not have been. It could have been something else shouted. Do we think Gerwyn Price really cares about people shouting the old, ridiculous Welsh stereotype at him?
No.
And singing that song. Not one bit.
I don't think the singing is ever going to be an issue. Scotland get battered wherever they go. Yeah. I'm not sure that's an issue to the players. No, they can play up to it a little bit. They can give it back. Yeah. But it is the individual comments and the chants. And that is tarnishing Michael Smith's biggest win. We're going to have to move on, Cam. We do need to talk about the semi-final lineup and our predictions for that. And by the way,
we've got 2 of us tonight, and rather than 3 of us. And we still talk for longer than 3 of us usually do.
Shock. This is what happens when I invite you on the show. It's just what happens. In fact, let's do this quickly. Let's do a very, very quick. We will do this one. Fantasy Premier League, folks. We are 3 matches away from crowning a winner, and Steve Cadman is out in the lead, although these points are yet to update, apparently. Let's see if a refresh will do that. It hasn't. That's not our league. They haven't put the final game of the night on, the Michael Smith and Gerwyn Price. I think that will change this table somewhat. Steve Cadman's out in front, but he has Michael Smith and Gerwyn Price, so that might go a little bit more. Charlie still leads from the team by 12 points over Liam.
Oh,
well, that's showing he's got 2 players. And also, look at that. I'm in 13th. I'm creeping up on the scoreboard. Because I've got Gary, Bully Boy, Peter Wright as triple captain, still to play again. Michael Smith and Gerwyn Price.
Oh, you could go up here as well.
Yes, definitely. So very, very enjoyable. A reminder, we will be sending out a prize to the winner of our league. Let's look ahead to tomorrow. And just a little reminder, Cam, when myself, Lee Boyce, and Luke
we don't need to talk about this.
Did the instant reaction to the World Championship draw. I asked Luke for his Final 4 predictions. Lee refused to give his. He said he'll do that on the next live lounge. And Luke pressured me into an instant reaction. Now, I may have changed my mind a couple of weeks later, but I'd just like to point out at this point that 3 of the 4 semi-finalists I backed to be there. James Wade,
how many
Peter Wright, and Gary Anderson. I picked Gary Anderson to be in the semi-final. Changed my mind to Rob Cross a few weeks later. The only one I got wrong, I thought Johnny Clayton would be the top part, but Michael Smith has been absolutely superb, and you cannot begrudge him that at all. Semi-final time then, Cam, and it is England versus England, and then Scotland versus Scotland. So for at least the semi-final stage, there should be no crowd hostilities. Once it gets to the final, there might be a little bit of an issue, but we'll cover that when we get to it. Michael Smith versus James Wade to start. How do you think this one is going in a best of 11 sets, first to 6?
I mean, I'm just so excited to go more than anything. Like, I cannot wait to be in the venue tomorrow and actually see this live.
Oh, you're going, are you? Yeah, you haven't mentioned that 4 times on tonight's show already.
Well, I mean, madly, as much as we sit here and talk about darts all the time, this is my first ever time going to Ali Pali. So yes, I'm excited, and yes, I'm going to talk about it. However, you're not going to like it, because I do not think that your boy can live with Michael Smith and his scoring. I do not think if Michael Smith is anywhere near what he was on the doubles today, then Wade doesn't get close to him, and I think Smith will be there. I think he'll play the same game. I think he is in that spot where he's feeling mature and he's playing really well. He's comfortable in his game and what's going on, and I think he wins 6-2.
I'd like to say you're massively wrong, but I just don't think you are. There is just a difference in Michael Smith this year. We keep on saying it. And secondly, I haven't seen that extra gear from James Wade at all in this tournament, not even for a set or two. If Michael Smith starts reeling off 97, 98 averages with 35% on the doubles, I'm just not convinced that James Wade can live with that for 11 sets. He might pick off the odd set, as James Wade does, but I'm not convinced that he can deal with that over 11 sets. And as someone who is one of James Wade's biggest admirers, I just don't fancy it. I do think he pick up 3 sets. I think it's 6-3, but I think Michael Smith gets the job done and is into a world final once again. A reminder, by the way, that the last time Michael Smith made the World Championship final, he beat Ron Moulenkamp in the last 64. He has done that once again in this tournament. Thanks to Lee for pointing that one out. And the other one he pointed out, by the way, is that James Wade has won 3 matches in this PDC World Championship so far, and every single player he has beaten has the initials MK.
Yep. Well, that run ends tomorrow, so...
Yeah, it's MS tomorrow, which is a little bit different, which is possibly why I don't think he gets there. Omens and all that. The second semi-final, Cam, is a matchup between 2 of the greatest Scottish players to ever live. Peter Wright, Gary Anderson, the former World Cup teammates that took home the title for the Scots the very first time. The world number 2 against the world number 6. Former world champions, former title winners all over the place. Good luck picking a winner in this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit special, this one, isn't it? To end the night off as well, with being the second game on as well, this is going to be really good. Yeah, we've got probably the most Scottish sounding dart player when you hear him interviewed, and the least Scottish sounding dart player when you hear him interviewed in these two. But it's heart and head, this one, a little bit. I know what I want to see, and I want to see. I think it goes deep, whichever way it goes. I really do. I think this is going to be an absolute cracker. And I want to see Gary get over the line. But like we said today, that resilience and that consistency from Peter Wright is very, very tough to beat. And I'm struggling to see past it. And I think Wright gets over the line 6-5. But I hope that Gary gets over the line 6-5.
I genuinely don't think I've ever been in a position like this before where I'm happy whoever wins the tournament. There's normally at least one player that, as a fan, as somebody that's grown up and watched it, I'm a little bit apprehensive about them potentially winning the title. I remember the first time that Gary won it, I was still a little bit stuck between when he beat Phil Taylor. I was a little bit, will Phil ever get the chance to win another one? Wanted him to go on and win it because of that, but also felt that Gary deserved his first. Michael Smith deserves his first. James Wade deserves his first. Peter Wright in contention to be world number 1. Gary Anderson to just produce it again. There is no loss here for me, apart from the fact somebody else has to lose from the opposite half of the draw.
I'm happy with 3 of them.
Of course, everybody's happy with 3 of them. And that goes exactly back to the disrespect comment that we started very, very much at the start of the day. God, I'm happy saying. No, I'd never say new year, new me. I'm well older beyond that. Yeah. No, I just hope for 11 sets. That's all I can hope for in this one.
I think we see that. I really do.
Yeah. Maybe Gary to shade it.
Is this your burner account on the screen right now?
No. I think Gary shades at 6-5. I'm not sure why I've done that, because I think Peter Wright's far more solid under pressure.
I was this close to saying it, and I went the other way, but that's what I want to see happen.
Yeah. Tommy says, will Wade get a better chance to win it? I don't think he will. I don't think Wade will ever get a better chance to win it. I'm not sure Michael Smith will ever get back there if it's not this year, unless he goes on and wins something else and starts building his way up. Peter Wright, I think, potentially will get there again. And I'm not convinced Gary Anderson will again either. And that's the issue for me. 3 of these players really need this win because it may well be their last opportunity to do so. Yeah. And that's what makes it an issue. Trying to pick one.
If
If
Michael
Michael Smith does,
he cleans up
look
for the
out.
next few years. Everything.
Possibly. Very possibly. It would just be that weight off his shoulders. He'll be able to
Yeah.
relax so much. But then there is also the pressure of being the world champion every time you step out. And that can do funny things to people as well. Let's not forget.
But I just think with Smith, the position he's in right now and the way he's playing, if he gets over the line in the first one, especially in the biggest one of the lot, the rest of them will just feel like he's just playing with everyone.
Pick a winner.
Pick a winner. Are we going there?
Well, you're not on tomorrow night, so you're going to be there. So this is your last chance to tell me who wins the tournament from here. All 4 players are seeded. All 4 players are top 10 players in the world, which is pretty solid for this tournament. We've had our fair share of controversy. We lost Michael van Gerwen. We lost Vincent van der Voort. We lost Dave Chisnell to COVID withdrawals. We've seen a little bit of up and down all over the place, the crowd, etc. But when all is said and done, no asterisk behind the winner, who wins the PDC World Championship?
I've been saying this for the last week, and I stand by it. Michael Smith wins this tournament, and he goes on and becomes the world number 1 within a year.
Is that even possible?
I don't know. I just
the only person I think that could
if he wins it back to back,
is Peter Wright. He needs to win it.
I think, but
Gerwen Price has gone 2 rounds further than he needed to guarantee that he would be world number 1 after this tournament. But that does not mean he cannot be caught by the end of the year by Peter Wright, especially if he wins. There would be £15,000 difference in the rankings between Peter Wright and Gerwen Price should Snakebite lift the Sid Waddell. Quick question from Stinger. He says, will MVG be in the rankings after this? Do you think it might actually take a load off his shoulders not to be able to get back up to number 1 anytime soon? I think the drive within MVG, no, he wants to be number 1. He wants to be the best.
Yeah.
There is a possibility that after this tournament, Michael van Gerwen is ranked world number 5. If James Wade beats Michael Smith tomorrow, he moves above Michael van Gerwen. He will be the world number 3. Van Gerwen will be the world number 4. Then should Gary Anderson win the world championship, he will also jump ahead of Wade and Van Gerwen, and he will be up to world number 3. There is a chance he will slip to number 5. Can he slip?
It could go to 4 if Smith win it as well.
It depends who he beats in the final. No, it doesn't.
Depending on the final,
Wade could be in trouble here. His world number 4 that we've been saying is so solid for the Premier League could be under threat if the world final is Gary Anderson versus Michael Smith.
It's not just under threat. He is down to... No, Smith would have to win it for him to be definitely out of it. But, yeah, if the world final is Gary against Michael Smith and Smith wins it, then, Wade's down to 5th as well. There are all massive implications still. Yeah.
I still think he's in the Premier League World Semi-Final, UK Open winner. I don't care if he got a backdoor entry last year because of Gerwen Price withdrawal. And also, let's be fair, it's not been his best performance this year, but he is still in the semi-final. But James Wade is far more animated on stage right now, and I think that is for the benefit of the PDC to say, come and look at me.
Do we really believe that? And does it look genuine or does it look a bit forced?
No, I think he's fired up enough for it. That's without my James Wade bias as well. I genuinely think that is.
I think he's fired up for it, but I just think some of the actions and histrionics on stage that he's giving after he wins a leg, they don't look natural.
I mean, the fact he didn't respond to a 9-darter last year, a little bit suspect. But the way he shuffled has always been a thing when he gives it the double pump from either side, and one of the best sides in darts when he does that.
Anyway, back to it. You made me pick a winner.
Yeah, but I'm on tomorrow, so I get better.
No. No, we're having it now.
I can't see past Peter Wright, despite the fact that I just haven't backed him to win tomorrow as a score prediction.
That's the most God prediction I've ever seen in my life. He's gonna lose 6-5 tomorrow, but he's gonna win the Worlds.
Yeah, I don't know how that's managed. He's just so calm. He's so confident. He's so consistent. He's made a 97 and a 99 average look like half a day's work. Even with Cameron up against it, he had it in the right moments. And I think his doubling gets even better. I think his doubling will get even better. There's just something
He missed a lot of chances today.
And the correct answer to this: if MVG slips to 5th in the world, will he still be in the Premier League? Yes, 100% yes, because there are nights in Holland, and the Dutch market is still the second biggest market for darts, maybe the third behind the German.
It's not even anything to do with that. He is still one of, if not the number one name in darts, and there is no way that he doesn't get either a PDC or a Sky pick or whoever it is that has that final casting vote, but he will get one.
Never has a stat shown that averages mean bugger all any more than the fact that Michael van Gerwen has the best average of the year and has one floor title and an unranked World Series event to his name.
That he only scraped over the line against.
And the sooner that darts evolves to use more telling statistics, I think that's why the trebleless visits has been included this year, because that is a big giveaway to form as well, given that the turntables the way they are until they're adjusted to 170 plus, 131 plus, etc. as well. I still think that's not the right way to do it.
The 180 start, as much as we all love 180 starts, especially me tonight, but as much as we love that sort of thing, it doesn't give any credit whatsoever to the 171s, 174s, and 177s. And even it's a bit more respectful, like 162s, we've seen Rob Cross hit multiple ones of them the other night. It doesn't give any credit to those sort of stats and how important they are. Like, you look at early stages of Price and Smith today, when Price went up ahead early, and Price had hit 3 177s in the first few legs. It was pretty, like, and those stats on the screen don't show you that. It does. A 140 doesn't look overly impressive, but when it's a 177, that 140 that's counted there, it's not kind of doing it. And we have seen it a little bit. Did we see it? Was it on one of the ITV4 events earlier in the season? They were showing 170 pluses rather than 180s.
I think maybe you're right. But yeah, stats will evolve. Go on. I know I appreciate it's 1:45 in the morning, but I appreciate it's also a weekend and there's plenty of time tomorrow for this to be watched back for those that aren't watching live. So let's do another couple of minutes, because not only will we find out who the world champion is the next time, or we will already know who the world champion is the next time you join us for anything live cam, hopefully for a bit of Q School action. It's very, very likely we will know the Premier League lineup. This is the last chance for you to discuss who will be in that 10. I think right now there is a very, very good chance the current world number 10, the current top 10 in the world as it stands, will be the Premier League 10. The only player I have concerns for is the world number 7, Jose de Sousa, despite being last year's finalist. I think if anybody is going to be replaced by Fallon Sherrick, that hype seems to have died down an awful lot after that Steve Beaton loss, but she still is ridiculously marketable, and we know that Sky will press for that image because it will just boost them so much. I think Jose de Sousa is the biggest at-risk player of the current top 10 in the world to miss out on the Premier League next year. I think Gerwin Price, Peter Wright, Michael van Gerwen, and I still think James Wade will be in there. I know that there were many that disagree with that. Gary Anderson, Michael Smith, Johnny Clayton, Dimitri Vandenberg, and Rob Cross, European champion. His game has got so much better this year. I know he wasn't the best performer in the Premier League last year. I genuinely think the world number 7, Jose de Sousa, has not had the best year. I know he said that his vaccination and diabetes have affected him, and he's just not performed at the same level that he had when he won the Slam behind closed doors, despite the fact he is the world number 7 and defending runner-up of the Premier League. I think if anybody misses out for Fallon Sherrick, I think it's Jose.
I think there's 3 that are in trouble of missing out. Well, 4. There is the loser of the game between Michael Smith and James Wade. I think whoever wins that game will be in 100%.
I think Smith's played himself into contention no matter what.
Yeah, no, I think he is. But if he wins that game, he's guaranteed. If he gets to the World Final, he is in, no doubt. I think Jose could be in trouble, but I think Portugal is a market that they're still trying to build, and I think that might be something that gets him in again, because it's a huge tourist destination. And yes, we've not really had that the last couple of years with COVID and everything that's gone on, but that could be a Premier League event in the future that they take it to Portugal and we have a game there. So I think he might just be all right. I think Dimmy's in a little bit of trouble.
No, because Dimmy is everything the PDC and Sky want. He is young. He is a former major winner. He's exciting when he turns up, and he speaks 5 different languages.
He does.
He is a publicist's dream.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. So they're my 4 that are in trouble. It's one of Smith or Wade. I think the winner of that is the one that gets in. And I think if Wade gets beat, I think he doesn't make it. Especially if he drops out. Especially if he drops out of the top 4.
Even if he loses tomorrow, if Wade doesn't make it, I think there will be plenty of conversations from your more traditional darts fans.
And I'll be honest, I am absolutely 100% convinced that Fallon Sherrock plays in the Premier League.
In some manner. I wouldn't.
No, not some manner. We're not going back to contenders. Nothing like that's going to happen.
I genuinely wouldn't be surprised.
No, I don't think we go back to contenders.
I genuinely would not be surprised if they returned in some format. It's just who they pick as those contenders.
I think that went 1 year longer than it should have done anyway. It was a good...
No, because COVID ruined that, because after Luke Humphreys beat Gary Anderson, it was working, and there was a good chance with the players remaining, the form they were in. I just think they have to be very careful about if they repeat that, if they repeat it for the gimmicks of the walk-ons, for the likes of John Henderson. I don't think that should be a thing.
No, I don't think it should have gone 1 year further.
I don't think the Premier League this year will be 10 straight players in the same format we've seen.
I do. I
think there is a twist coming. I'm not sure what it is, but I think there is a twist coming, whether that be a Premier League 2 in some format, whether that be contenders, whatever. I'd love to be sitting just talking about 10.
I don't think this year is the year that we see that. I think maybe next year, but I think this year there's still too much uncertainty. I think they go with the straight 10, and if they have to put it behind closed doors for 2 weeks, they do that, because you can't do that with contenders, and that could still happen. We don't know what's going to happen over the next few weeks. I think maybe next year we see something different happen. I think this year we see it happen, and there's been discussions about this on a couple of different sort of WhatsApp groups I'm in, just like the guys from work, and then a couple of good friends who are big fans of the darts. And we sort of all got to a point of our final picks for it, and I'll be honest, you're not going to like it. My final 10 for it were Gezi, Peter Wright, Michael Van Gerwen, Rob Cross, Johnny Clayton, Michael Smith, Jose Dimmy, Gary Anderson, if he decides to do it. That's another potential might not happen, and Fallon Sherrock, and James Wade misses out.
I think the PDC will be very, very brave to miss out a player that's been in the top 4 for so long, has won a major in the UK.
If he does drop out of the top 5 of the top 4 and drops down to 5th, which could very well happen, and he's had his run in the Premier League. I know it was because of COVID and he was the next man up, and it is.
I don't think you can class that as having his run.
You can, well, you can though as well though, and we all know he is not the most marketable player or the most liked player or a player that brings in a lot of fans or is exciting to watch. And if they want to justify it that way in the fact that he got his run last year and that is his UK Open win that he got it for, they can do that, and they will do that. And I think if there is a man that was to be the one to drop out for that sort of reason, he's going to be the first person they look to drop. And I do think it is the right time to put Fallon in it. I really do.
I don't think she's ever going to be more marketable.
Exactly.
But after the performance,
and that is the biggest thing about it. And it's
I'm worried about the level.
Sky are huge on growing the game and building the game. We've seen them they've put a lot of money into the Women's Super League in football now. They've put a lot of money into showing the Women's Big Bash as well in the cricket. And they've also been behind the cricket over here as well in terms of the 100. And they've also shown, I think they showed the final of the Rachel Hale Trophy as well. They are big on women's sport, and it is their mantra at the moment in terms of growing the game and getting people involved in it and bringing new people to the sport. And for me, there is no one better in the sport right now to do that with. There just isn't. Nobody else will bring in as many fans as Fallon, however you market them. Michael Smith, even if he wins the world title for his first one and gets his first major, he's the best player to watch in darts when he's flowing and he's good. But could you market him the same as you can market Fallon Sherrock and bring new people into the game? No, you can't.
Probably not. And on that note, I think that's time to end the show. We've been talking for an hour and a quarter. A massive, massive thank you to everybody that has joined us in the chat room throughout. You guys have been absolutely superb. If you're listening back as a podcast, thank you very much for getting all this way into the show. There is just one more Fallout bar remaining for the World Championships. A massive thank you to our friends at BoyleSports for sponsoring all of our PDC World Championship coverage. They're with us all the way through until Tuesday night's live lounge, where Phil Bars, myself, and Lee Boyce will be reviewing the World Championship in its entirety. We'll be discussing the Premier League lineup once it's announced and the new world champion for this year, looking ahead to 2022. A quick reminder, if you don't already, follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Online Darts. You guys can keep up with all of our coverage on there. And if you haven't done so already, please do drop this stream a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel before you go so you don't miss out on any content from us. For the penultimate time of this World Championships, a massive thank you to you for watching the show, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks. I'll see you later.